In today's video, I thought I would take you through what I eat in a day during the follicular phase. I'm doing all natural cycles, so this is unmedicated. This is just listening to my body, and I have been eating this way during the follicular phase for a few cycles now, 3 or 4 cycles. This might be my fourth cycle. So I thought it'd be a good time. I've really kind of dialed in my routine as far as what I like to eat and what works best for me. And that includes things like when I drink my electrolytes, when I take my supplements, when I start eating, and how I get all of the protein in for the day that I need. During the follicular phase, I am doing intermittent fasting, and my eating window is from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. So there's a longer period of time in the morning where I am not eating, and that is to encourage my body to do more of cellular cleanup, getting rid of old cells, healing digestion, and all the little things that my body needs to take care of, that digestion being such an energy intensive process might take away from. And I can say that I've found intermittent fasting during the follicular phase to really work well with my body's needs and how I feel. I feel really good when I do intermittent fasting during the follicular phase. It is different during the luteal phase. During the luteal phase, intermittent fasting doesn't quite work as well. And when I say it doesn't quite work as well, what I mean is that I get hungrier earlier. My mental ability to do quick tasks is reduced. I just notice like some subtle things that basically tell me that my body needs food. And that's in the luteal phase. In the follicular phase, I have found that intermittent fasting, with just this, I think it's like 16-8 schedule that I'm doing, actually works really well with what it seems like my body is asking for, because I don't actually get hungry in the mornings, even if I'm doing like working out or going for walks or whatever. Like 11 a.m. seems to be a really perfectly timed place for me to start eating for the day. And there doesn't seem to be much of a downside as far as energy level, hunger pains, irritability, those kinds of things, when I am not eating in the morning during the follicular phase. But it's also kind of nice to do intermittent fasting for a short period of time. So because I know I'm only going to be doing intermittent fasting during the follicular phase, it's only like a 2-week-ish window of eating this way. So it doesn't feel as strict, because even with a wider window, like I think 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. is a pretty wide window, at times it can feel constrictive. Perhaps like on the weekends when you maybe want to eat breakfast earlier, or during the weekdays when you've worked late and now you have to make sure you get your food in by 8 p.m. It can feel a little restrictive, but if you know you're only going to be doing it for 2 weeks, it makes it a lot easier to just kind of go back and forth. So I've found that I enjoy restarting the intermittent fasting during my follicular phase when I get my period, and then kind of easing out of intermittent fasting once I can confirm ovulation and my body starts asking for more food earlier in the morning. The other thing that I'm doing, not quite as strictly as some of my past cycles have been with my eating, is the keto diet. Keeping an eye on how many carbs I am consuming and trying to err more on the side of high protein and high fat. So that is what I mean by ketogenic diet. This is not strict by any means. I'm not trying to stay in ketosis. I did that for a couple cycles. It's good to do. It's good to do, and to maybe give your body a break from some of those foods. But I'm in a more relaxed place with the keto diet now, and just more so focus on eating healthy food, healthy, non-processed food that I cook at home, that kind of a thing. So those are kind of the two overarching themes of the follicular phase and what I eat in a day. Try to get out in the sun as it's rising or slightly before it's rising. That means this time of year I am out on the balcony by 7 a.m. and that is within a probably 15-minute period from when I actually wake up from sleeping. And so within 15 minutes, I'll make my electrolyte drink and then go immediately outside to the balcony and drink that on the balcony while the sun is rising. It's a really nice way to wake up. It's definitely helped replace the coffee habit. And the reason why I like being on the balcony with my electrolytes is if you get natural sunshine or natural sunlight or natural light in your eyes within the first 5 to 10 minutes of waking up, you are sending your body a signal that it's time to wake up. And that's an important signal for your body to know that it is daytime and it's time to wake up, because there's a lot of like hormone processes that get started based on that light hitting your eyes. So that's really important. Sunlight also will tell your body what time it is, what time of year it is, and this will not only help you wake up, but it will also help you go to sleep at night, because the sunlight kind of starts the timer for when your melatonin is going to be produced later on in the evening. So light is really important. It's a nice way to wake up, I think, and it also is a nice thing to do for your body. So that is why I sit in the morning sun and drink my electrolytes first thing. There's a few supplements that I will take with my electrolytes, and those supplements are my B vitamins. I am supporting with extra choline and TMG right now because I tested positive for the MTHFR gene, which means that my methylation cycle for B vitamins needs extra support. And so I take those in the morning. I also take NAC, which helps your body clear oxidative stress. Detox, it's like a detox type supplement. I'm also working on healing my digestion, so right now that means I am also taking the supplements of Mega Pre and Mega Mucosa, both of which are helping to rebuild my intestinal lining. Every day, I try to get some movement in as well. And so today is Monday. It is a work from home day, as I said. On work from home days, that means I'm not going to be walking to the office, so I will try to get downstairs to our gym here and get some movement in there. So this past weekend, Stephen and I walked quite a bit. So I did a little bit of running and rowing this morning after my electrolytes, and it felt great. One of the things that I'm also doing differently is I am starting to add strength training into my movement routine, but today is not a strength training day. I'm only doing strength training 2 days a week, so that will be tomorrow and Friday. And that has been eye-opening. If you take some time off strength training, it is not fun going back and realizing just quite how much you've lost. But the good news is that it comes back quickly. So I was definitely sore for the first couple days, but I'm starting to see progress already, which is great. While I'm getting ready for the day, I will also take a few more supplements, and those supplements are my probiotics. I'm taking 2 different kinds of probiotics from Microbiome Labs, which is the same company that does the Mega Pre and Mega Mucosa. So I'm taking HU58. That's a good kind of master probiotic that I'm taking right now. And I am also taking Megaspore probiotics. Megaspore probiotics were the first probiotics that I started with from Microbiome Labs, and I absolutely love them. They made a huge difference right away when I started taking them, and so I've been taking them now for 6 months, 6 or 7 months now. And those are kind of like my staple probiotics. So I'll take those about an hour before I am going to start eating. So around 10 a.m. is when I am taking my probiotics. And that is because I want the probiotics to move through my stomach and into my intestines prior to any food getting in there, because that is really where the work of the probiotic is going to be done the best. And if they start getting digested in the stomach, if there's food, then I might lose some of them. So it's just better to have them being passed through the stomach before I'm adding food. I'll have those probiotics, finish getting ready, and then probably do some work stuff. And then it'll be about time for me to make my food. If you've been following along in my journey, you have probably seen so many different versions of me making my smoothie. It's kind of one of the easiest things that I can video that shows what I'm doing at home. For some reason, I just always remember to video of myself when I'm making my smoothie, so I have a lot of footage of that. But it's always the same smoothie. It really hasn't changed that much. I do think in one of my earlier videos, I went through exactly each ingredient that I put in my smoothie, which if you're curious about, I can definitely do another video on that. But it's basically just a protein smoothie. I try to get 20 grams of protein in the smoothie. I put in chia seeds for fiber, and then a few different supplements, like I'll have put in spirulina if I have it. I don't have it right now. I'll put in lion's mane mushrooms for brain health, and matcha, a little bit of matcha for a little early kick in the day, although it doesn't quite kick the same way that coffee does, but I enjoy the taste actually, because I don't put any sweeteners in the smoothie. When I was being strict keto, I wasn't even putting a banana in the smoothie, but I have since decided that the smoothie is just so much better with a half a banana, and so I can't go half bananas anymore. So that's my sweetener, and it helps it thicken up too. But otherwise, we just have the peanut butter, the matcha, the banana, protein powder, coconut milk, and then I'll put in some kind of vegetables. If I have spinach, I'll put spinach in there. I put carrots in there before. I'm using broccoli right now. Broccoli is great during the follicular phase because it helps process estrogen, which is rising during this phase. Then I'll mix that all up, and that is my smoothie. I absolutely love the smoothie. I look forward to having the smoothie. So I think that's a good sign that my body loves it as well. And I try to get that in every single day. I am also making a point to eat 2 eggs. And I hard boil them, and then I just peel them and eat them with my smoothie. And I haven't been super strict about doing this. Sometimes I just have my smoothie, and sometimes I'll have eggs in the smoothie. I'm obviously getting a lot of protein with the protein powder in the smoothie, but the reason why I'm adding the eggs is for the choline. Like I said, I am working on my methylation pathways because of the gene that makes that process difficult for my body. The extra collagen in the protein powder does put extra strain on that methylation pathway, which the choline in the eggs helps relieve. Choline is also really great for brain health, not only for yourself, but also for a potential baby should I get pregnant. So it's a really good idea to get into that habit. So I am continuing. I'm being more intentional about making sure I get those 2 eggs with my smoothie every single morning. So that is why those eggs are included today. After my smoothie and my eggs, I will also take my prenatals, which I take the Seeking Health prenatal vitamins. These prenatals are great, but you do have to take 8 pills a day. So it's a lot. So I try to split it up. I'll take 4 after my breakfast, and then I'll have 4 with my evening meal. They do have B vitamins in the prenatals, so they say to make sure you take them an hour away from bedtime. So I find that 4 pills in the morning and 4 pills in the afternoon is the right cadence for me. So I will take those after my breakfast. But I really like the Seeking Health prenatals. Every time I learn about something that should be in a prenatal, I'll go check it, and it definitely is in there. So I think that's great. And then the other 2 supplements that I find are really important to take in the morning is my CoQ10, and I take that from Needed, and my EPA DHA, which is the omega-3s. Also, another thing that is great for brain health and great for baby brain health should you become pregnant. We are now at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It has been a couple hours since I had my smoothie and my eggs. I am not hungry yet, but it's about that time of day where you could be starting to feel a little snacky. I'm not even saying I'm snacky yet, but what I like to do right around this time, like this mid-afternoon time, where typically you might go and get an extra cup of coffee if you were in the office, or if you're at home, maybe some tea or something. What I like to put in its place at around this time is bone broth. I buy the bone broth from Costco, and in each carton it has 20 grams of protein, which if you're counting your protein, you know that it's difficult to get all of your protein needs in a single day, especially when you're intermittent fasting. So this bone broth is a great hack, because I'll open up a carton of the bone broth and I'll put it in a coffee mug, I'll heat it up, and I'll just sip on it or drink it like I would drink a coffee or a tea. And that damps down any kind of potential snacky craving that I might have had otherwise. It also is giving me protein, but it's not making me feel full. Also, bone broth is great for your digestion and for your intestinal lining. It has a lot of gelatin in it, which your intestinal lining just loves. So if you're having any stomach troubles at all, bone broth is so soothing and so nice. So it's just a really nice thing to do for yourself and for your body, and I've grown to enjoy the taste. It's not bad. It's like a broth, basically. It's like a broth or a soup. It's definitely not coffee with creamer. It is not tea, in the sense that it's not kind of water, but it's not thick either. So you're not trying to drink something with like a yogurty type texture. It's very, very liquid. It's warm and cozy, makes you feel comforted, and it's really good for you. And you get 20 grams of protein if you drink the whole carton. So I'm actually gonna go get my bone broth protein right now so that I can finish out the second part of my workday. This, what I'm eating in a day for the follicular phase, and the foods that I've chosen to include are specifically geared towards supporting my body's fertility. However, I think that this way of eating would also work really well if you were just trying to eat according to the way your body feels and according to your cycles. During the follicular phase of your cycle, your estrogen is rising. That is the dominant hormone in your body. And your body's state is one of, it can handle more stuff. This is when fasting is okay. This is when, if you are planning to do an extreme sporting challenge, like this would be the time in your cycle when it would be more ideal to do that, because your body is not focusing on a major process like ovulation or preparing your body for pregnancy, which would be the luteal phase. Follicular phase is your spring and summer. It is the time to start new activities. It is the time to push yourself. It is the time that you'll have the energy to challenge yourself in those ways, if that is one of your goals. So if you were just trying to align your eating and activities with your cycles to feel better, this is a way that you could eat as well. So the intermittent fasting, the ketogenic diet, fasting in general. When you get into the ovulation phase, which you can test for by buying the LH strips and just testing with your urine every morning, those will pinpoint pretty accurately when you are about to ovulate. Ovulation is more of an inflammatory phase for the body. So once ovulation is in process, your body is kind of focusing on releasing that egg, and it takes more energy, right? So it's more inflammatory. So my experience of this has been the intermittent fasting still feels good until about the day of or the day after I've confirmed ovulation. And that to me is telling me that my body is under a little bit more stress and would appreciate a little bit more nourishment as opposed to pushing myself by fasting for too long. So that's ovulation, and then you move into the luteal phase. And during the luteal phase is when progesterone starts becoming the dominant hormone. The estrogen was rising in the follicular phase. We get to ovulation, ovulation happens, estrogen starts dropping, progesterone is starting to be produced by the follicle that the egg was released from, and that hormone signals to your body that the uterine lining should start being prepped for a potential baby. So when you get to the luteal phase, now we're starting to get into fall and winter, where the body is turning inward, conserving its energy, building up the stores to last through the winter. That's kind of like the way that I see it. And so that is kind of a better time for quieter activities, a little less intensity, ensuring you get nourishment throughout the day as opposed to the spring and summer phase of the follicular phase. These are very subtle things, I think. I've found it to be very interesting to kind of follow along and let my body lead what I'm feeling like doing for the day. But I definitely have had the experience of scheduling or having had scheduled a exercise activity, such as like running a 5K, running a half marathon, doing a cycling challenge, and it happens to fall in my luteal phase, especially late in the luteal phase. And it is the most interesting experience because it doesn't matter how hard I may have trained for that activity or for that challenge. If it falls in the luteal phase, it will feel like crap. It will not be a fun experience. Like, I'll be able to do it, but I will not want to. It will not feel good, and I will wonder what the heck was I training for that entire time, because I feel like a couch potato. So I've definitely had that experience. And if you've had that experience too, maybe this can help explain why. But yeah, so I've found it very interesting to be able to follow my cycle like this and eat according to how my body feels and what my body is trying to accomplish. I feel like I don't eat a lot in my 40s as opposed to when I was younger. And maybe your body just doesn't require as much calories to sustain the same sort of functioning. So that's another factor too. If you are watching this and thinking, wow, she's really not eating very much. I could never, sustain the activities of my life with that low of calories, then maybe that is why. Whether or not you're trying to get pregnant, I think it is a very interesting experience to eat and move according to the natural cycles that your body is already going through. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video. And if you're not timing your ovulation precisely, like I am, because I want to know exactly which day it is. If you are monitoring your basal body temperature, which now you can do without having to actually take your temperature every single morning with a thermometer if you have an Apple Watch. I think this feature has been out for a couple years now, but it's definitely on the newest one that they just came out with. It will track your temperature while you're sleeping if you're using it for sleep tracking. I believe the Oura Ring can do a similar thing, but both of those ways are ways that you can confirm ovulation with the rise in temperature that happens after ovulation. So if you're not trying to be as precise with ovulation and you just want to know when the follicular phase and the luteal phase is, that's an easy, non-invasive way to keep track of it. For now, I'm gonna go drink some more electrolytes. If I was gonna say that anything was a game changer when it comes to not snacking and also getting the high protein content in, I would definitely say that it is the bone broth. That is so easy to drink. It's easy to take with me when I am going to the office, and it packs a big punch protein-wise. And it definitely reduces any cravings for snacking. I will say that after drinking an entire carton, you do kind of feel like you want something with substance. And during the luteal phase, I might allow myself to have a little bit of popcorn or something like that with it. But during this follicular phase, we keep everything clean. We are coming into the 5 o'clock hour, and it is time to start thinking about dinner. So for our meals today, for my meals today, I've had the shake with peanut butter and protein. And that actually keeps me very full feeling for quite some time. I had the 2 eggs. Got a lot of protein there. During the afternoon, I had my bone broth, which is another 20 grams of protein. And so for the evening, for my dinner meal, typically what I'm going to have for this meal is going to be another protein source, another very solid source of protein, whether that's a chicken breast, a salmon fillet, or a steak. Stephen often likes to cook us steaks in the evening, and so we'll have that. And as for the vegetable or side dish, we typically have a pepper stir fry or a squash stir fry. During this time of the follicular phase, I won't have any side dishes that are starchy or complex carbs, such as potatoes or rice. Those kinds of heavier carbs are better for the luteal phase. So it's very light on the carbs. So dinner is going to be mostly protein, fat, and then we get our fiber basically from the peppers, the squash, and other vegetables like that. And if I am going to be going ahead and getting our dinner started now, which is around 5:30, we'll be eating by 6:30. That's well within my window of eating period from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. If I am feeling hungry, which I typically am not feeling hungry after a good solid meal, like with steak or whatever, if I'm feeling hungry, I do have some Greek yogurt, which I can mix with some chia seeds and a little bit of cinnamon as kind of a dessert or an evening meal before the window closes at 8 p.m. Finishing all of my food be at around 8 p.m. or prior to 8 p.m. means that I am going to go to bed with nothing being processed in my stomach, which is good because that means that my body is not working on digestion while I'm sleeping and trying to restore myself for the next day. I'll wake up feeling refreshed, hopefully. I have a better chance of waking up feeling refreshed and ready to go the next morning if I'm not working overnight to process food that I have just eaten before bed. So that is what I eat in a day during the follicular phase. High protein, high fat, plentiful fiber or some fiber, and that has been working very well for me for the past 3 or 4 months. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this eating plan, if you have an eating plan that is similar, or if you try to follow your cycle in terms of eating differently during the follicular phase and transitioning into the luteal phase. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. I did have more electrolytes today as well, and this is what the camera was on.